Hi guys, Gary Fong here, and I want to talk about contracts because there's been a lot of talk lately about photographers and lawsuits and things like that. So I've been, sent a number of contracts from a number of photographers to kind of like take a look at. I'm not an attorney, but I do, know certain things about contracts because, of course, I've had contracts in my business. So the first thing I want to say is, it's going to sound like eat your vegetables, but you have to see an attorney to make your contract. You can't just take something that's boilerplate off the web and then make that. It has to be personal for your situation. Now, that's going to cost maybe, I'm going to teach you how to save money at that part. Okay, so we're going to save quite a bit of money by doing this. You're going to have a piece of paper, and you're going to write on it 4 things, and this will basically incorporate itself into the wording of your contract. So the 4 things, these are the headers of the 4 things. Number 1, definitions. Number 2, limitations. Number 3, remedies. And number 4, consideration. Okay, so make that the headline of your sheet. Now let's talk about definitions. Definitions means what is what. So for example, definition, photographer, me, not because you have to say who the photographer is in the contract, or else you could send a chimpanzee, and we want to define things. We want to define things like what is a usable image. The usable image, I would say it's in focus, it's properly exposed, where shadow and highlight details are completely visible. Number 3, it's in focus. And number 4, the flesh tones are believable. That's what I used in my contracts. This is what's called defined as a usable image. Definition would also be, how long are you there? Because if you don't define that, then they could say, hey, the guy promised he was going to be there for 3 months recording everything that I did, and he said he was going to do 42 million usable artistic images. Do you see where because images is such a subjective thing, someone can say, hey, I didn't like how they look and I want a refund, right? So that's why you have to define what is an image, what is a usable image. You want to define the medium, what's going to be handed over. Okay, so those are all things that are definitions. Define the time and place of this agreement. So number 2 would be the limitations. Limitation being that I'm going to be there for 4 hours and I'm going to leave. Limitation being that you're going to get a DVD and not the television that goes with a DVD, or not the car that goes with the DVD so that you can drive it home or whatever. That's a limitation. A limitation would also be, for example, copyright. Copyright, you own the copyright. You can't transfer the copyright to another person unless it's done with a copyright transfer form. But you could define that the limitations of the client's use of the image is just for viewing, just for printing for their own use, and not for use in a national ad campaign where they get paid a couple $100,000, not for use in stock photography, not for use in examples of spousal abuse. I'm just being a little bit silly, but these are the things that I'm talking about, limitations, okay? And then third one is remedies. Remedies means if what I define and limit like this does not occur, then the remedies are this. You could say the remedy is I get to poke you in the nose. You could say the remedy is refund of all fees paid and deposits. Those are remedies. And if you don't have remedies, then, I don't know, they could sue you and take everything, right? Despite what some seminar experts say that, oh, I don't know, just do it. Just be a professional photographer. What's the worst that can happen? You lose your house? No, that's not going to happen. Don't listen to that stuff. This is the people just after your money. So I'm here to save you money, and that's this. And okay, so that's remedies. And the 4th one is consideration. Consideration is just a fancy word for money changing hands, okay? So you'll see a lot of times in contracts, for valuable consideration received. For $500 received, I define that I am the photographer, you are the client. I am going to photograph, which is defined as the production of X number of usable image, and usable image is defined as in focus, properly exposed, things like that. And then defining within 4 hours. And if any of these don't occur, then the remedy is a poke in the eye or a refund of all the money. Also definition could be venue. You could say, you know what, we're going to try this thing, if we can't come to an agreement, we're going to try this thing in Antarctica. You could say that, and if the person signs, they're bound to the agreement. If they don't, that's breach of contract, okay? So, in lack of specificity in your contract, then it's up to the judge to decide who really is the one that's saying exactly what they agreed on, and that's dangerous. And here's the other thing too. I like to think of contracts as proactive litigation. I like to think of it as pretend you're in a courtroom, pretend there's a judge, and pretend things that have just gone terribly wrong between you and the client. What are you going to rely on? A clever attorney like Johnny Cochran? Maybe, but wouldn't it be neat to have something that says, Your Honor, he said that I can poke him in the eye if he didn't pay me my second deposit. Well, is that true? Yes, it's right here, and there's a signature on the bottom. Right, so, that's another thing too. Make sure that each page is signed. Because if it's not, you could insert a page. Make sure that in the contract you define how many pages are in the agreement. Because what if he gets tricky and adds 17 pages to it with an end piece that's signed, but it's just got a whole bunch of type saying you're going to detail their car every week, whatever. So all of these things, you got to have an attorney. You can't just pay $30 and get a contract over the internet. You can't get a contract from some seminar or workshop, because defining an agreement between two people is like defining a marriage. You want to take a boilerplate off the internet and say that the agreement I have with my wife is that I have to quack like a duck at 5 p.m. every, whatever, I'm just being silly, but that's what I'm saying, is that every situation is completely personalized to whatever relationship that the photographer and the client has, and you can't do that by boilerplate. You have to see an attorney, but do what I said, make those 4 headers, okay, and then put that on a piece of paper, and then write down everything you can think of. Give that to the attorney. It'll save you a ton of money. I can't see an attorney charging more than 2 hours for this. So if they're $300 an hour, typically they're $250 an hour. Mine tend to be $500 an hour, $600 an hour, whatever. Limit the time. If you just go in there and say, "Hi, I'd like you to help me with a contract," they say, "Oh, so how's the weather outside? $5 a minute, man." Right? Okay, anyway, I hope that helps. Here to help. Okay, so thanks.